friends. Welcome back to Healthy Living with Denise. I'm Denise, and we are talking about feeling better, feeling stronger, being stronger, and thriving through this chapter of life, this chapter being midlife. Um, and I'm really excited. I want to talk to you about something that I experienced a couple days ago. Well, actually, I guess it's been about a week. I recently had the honor of emceeing an extraordinary event. It was a 2-day event here in Rochester, Minnesota. It's actually the seventh annual. We had to skip a couple of years though because of COVID. Symposium. It's the Community of Wellness Symposium, and it is about lifestyle medicine. And it was at least inspired by lifestyle medicine. And yes, we had many of the speakers who were there were either part of American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Some were coaches who have been around in this community. And it was so exciting because what their mission is simple. Okay. And this is, we always make things so much harder than they have to be, right? But it's really simple. Ready? Lifestyle as medicine. Use lifestyle first, and then medicine as a last resort. Now we know that, you know, regular medicine or Western medicine is absolutely necessary. It is the science and research that they've done through the years has basically, cured polio and all sorts of diseases that people were dying from, especially younger people. Until recently, they had really been eradicated. For whatever reason, people get a little freaked out nowadays about vaccines. And this is not about vaccines, but obviously there are some things that absolutely make sense, right? But the goal here is lifestyle as medicine. Some of these other things are a little outside of what I'm talking about, but truly what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about today, is and every day is about your personal health and the things that you can do for you to lose weight or maintain a healthy weight, to have energy, to be able to lift weights, to have the flexibility and balance that you need to basically live a regular life, and to be able to do that in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and well into your 90s. Yes, people are living that long. As the menopause mentor, I talk about menopause a lot, but also I talk about longevity. When I talk about longevity, I'm not trying to make you live till 110. That would be interesting, but really it is about the health span in those years as opposed to just a lifespan. But the cool thing with lifestyle as medicine is it's not the last resort. There are so many things that we can do to basically take care of ourselves and make sure we don't get certain diseases that basically are brought on by our lifestyles. For example, obesity, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, and diabetes. All of these things, for the most part, can be affected positively by our lifestyle. And that's what I love this. It's not pills first, not surgery first, but education first and prevention first. Healing from the inside out by paying attention to what you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're connecting with others, whether you have passion in your life, passionate about, your friends and family, about your job or career or the volunteer efforts that you're doing, whatever that is. Passion is so, so important. Um, as I listened to the speakers and, of course, participated as the MC, I'm listening, but I'm also participating in asking questions as well. One thing became very clear to me as a 54-year-old midlife woman, right? Women in menopause need these concepts, but we actually need them tailored for us. Now, not just midlife women or women in menopause, yes, as a whole, but also individually. I've heard the phrase individualized medicine for years. I live in Rochester, Minnesota, home of the Mayo Clinic, and people talk about this phrase all the time. And this is actually something that we can actually do for ourselves. Um, we tend to think, or there's a common thought process, I guess, that midlife is a problem, menopause is a problem to fix. It's not a problem. It is actually a powerful life transition that every women go through. Women from the beginning of time have gone through this. Well, maybe not the women who kind of lived and died and gotten, eaten by, saber-toothed tigers very early. Actually, I don't think people were alive when there were saber-toothed tigers, now that I actually think about that. Anyway, getting distracted. When we align with our daily choices, with who we are becoming as women, as individuals, as menopausal women, midlife women, give it a name, right? The results can be extraordinary. They can be unique to you. They can be so special. So today I'm going to share a little bit about lifestyle medicine, the basics of lifestyle medicine, and show you how in menopause, it's not just about doing more, because do we really need to do more? It's about doing things differently, with wisdom, with grace, with power. Power here, strong power, but power from within. Okay. So lifestyle medicine is part of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And they focus on 6 pillars. I actually have a 7th one, and I'm actually stealing this thunder from my friends over at the Rochester Clinic in Minnesota. So if they hear this, Dr. Jeng, this is all about you. Okay, so number 1, nutrition. Lifestyle medicine focuses on eating predominantly a whole plant-based diet. Now, my take on that is a little different, and I'll get into that in a minute. Movement, prioritizing daily physical activity. That all the time. We're such a sedentary society. We sit all day long. We sit in front of a computer. We sit in our car. Yesterday, I was on an airplane. I sat in an airplane. I sat in an airport. I sat in the car on the way to and from the airports. Right. So this morning, when I got up, what was the first thing I wanted to do? I wanted to move. So making daily movement, notice I didn't say exercise, although that's really what it is, a priority, right? Remember when you were a kid? We didn't call it movement. We didn't call it exercise. We called it playing. And we did that every day. Remember, you couldn't wait till you're allowed to go outside and play all day, and be with your friends, and you play kickball and all sorts of things. Back then, again, we called it playing. Now we call it movement or exercise. However, if you join a team, maybe you play like playing basketball, maybe like everybody, it seems, except for me, play pickleball, something like that, but something that you're doing every single day. And yes, walking is great. The 10,000 steps concept, if you listen to everyone that says you should walk 10,000 steps every day, that's about 5 miles. For a lot of people, that's never going to happen, at least right away. Aim for, half of that, 1,000 steps, which is 2.5 miles, right? And I wear an iWatch or an Apple Watch to count my steps when I don't think I'm going to get a run in today. I think it's going to rain, or I don't know. It looks kind of crappy out. But again, I got a strength training workout done this morning. So prioritizing physical activity, I put it on my calendar. There's not a day that goes by that I don't know what I'm doing. Now, that doesn't mean that every now and then I don't take a day off. I do. And sometimes my day off is like yesterday. It was a travel day. So I really didn't do any exercise. I did a little bit of stretching. Other times it really is a planned light day. Maybe I'm going to go for a 3-mile walk. And that's not a power walk. That's just a nice walk out in the country with my husband. It's still activity and movement, but it is not necessarily what I would consider like real exercise. I'm moving, but I'm not really exercising to get my heart rate up. That's more of a kind of an off day. The third pillar is restorative sleep, getting deep, restful sleep, healing sleep. So many times we say, we don't, I'm young, I don't need to sleep, or, I'll sleep on the weekend, or I'll make up for it. No, we need to be getting 7 to 9 hours of good sleep every single night. Now, I know in midlife, ladies, this can be difficult. And so we need to figure out how we can manage that. Whether, you're experiencing hot flashes and night sweats, or if you just wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, okay, I'm awake. Why? What's going on here? There are ways to mitigate that, right? We just have to go searching for them. And, when I said, a little bit earlier, I mentioned individualized medicine. Sometimes this individualized medicine is by you doing some research. The nice thing is there are people like me around who can help guide you on your wellness journey. Okay, so number 4 is stress management. Yeah, no. Why is stress management part of every pillar of health? Because we live in a very stressful society. Whether it's your working career, family, social media, the news, world health, world news, whatever it is, all of these things are stressors. And very often, if you're a perfectionist, right, you're adding additional stress to your daily stress, and that's really unnecessary stress. Not I would say that most of the stress that we deal with is unnecessary. um Not all, of course, but the fact that we are constantly attacked by it, whether it's social media or TV or whatever it may be, we are not, we're just burdened so heavily by stress that we need to take time every single day just to step back. Whether that's, again, taking a walk outside. Nature is a great healer. I think it's truly, the world's best healer. Or deep breathing, meditation, whatever it may be, finding some type of stress management. Number 5 is kind of an one for me, but it does make sense. It's kind of obvious. Limit alcohol, Tabasco, tobacco. Tabasco is actually really good, especially if you put it on your eggs in the morning. Anyway, limiting alcohol, tobacco, and processed junk food. And by that, I mean chips and cakes and cookies, all of the stuff that comes packaged, also processed meats, all of those things. Again, limiting them. This doesn't say completely cut them out, though you probably should completely cut out tobacco. And even though processed junk food you should really cut out, sometimes it's just really hard, right? If you're traveling, whatever it may be, you're driving down the road and you just don't have anything with you and you're like, I gotta stop at the gas station. There are some healthier options there. Go for the nuts, as opposed to the chips, which chips will fill you up for a couple minutes, and then about 15 minutes later, you'll be hungry again. Anyway, so that's number 5. Number 6 is positive social connections, building meaningful, supportive relationships. Well, of course, we want to do that. That's part of life, right? The number 7 that my friend Dr. Jen and May, who works with him, his wife May, they came up with this one a few years ago, and I really like this one. And it is purpose. I mention purpose. I mention purpose quite often, but having a purpose in life, again, whether that's your career, your family, something that you enjoy doing. So all of those things are the pillars that lifestyle medicine focuses on. And all of these are important, I mean, at any stage of life. But here is my perspective when it comes to menopause. For menopausal women, we need to evolve. We need it to evolve, this whole concept of lifestyle medicine. In menopause, our nutritional needs shift, right? Protein isn't just helpful, it is essential. And yes, there are plenty of plant-based proteins, tofu, tempeh, beans. Years ago, my niece decided to go vegan. And at one point she said to me, she's, Dee, all I'm eating is like carbs. Even though the tofu and the tempeh were protein, she was eating a lot of beans and a lot of greens and a lot of lentils, which, yes, they have some protein, but they are more carb. So why do we need it? Why do we need this protein? And by that, I'm thinking, lean proteins, fatty fish, Um, I even do organic eggs, not a lot, but I do incorporate them into my diet. I did try to be 100% plant-based a bunch of years ago. I wasn't as strong. I wasn't as fast. I didn't feel as good. I didn't recover from workouts as quickly. So why do we need this protein other than those things that I just said, right? Preserving lean muscle. As we get older and our estrogen starts to drop, our ability to maintain muscle decreases along with that. And so eating protein will help us to preserve that lean muscle that we already have, but it's also going to help us to build when we're lifting weights. It's also protecting bone density. Again, as we get older, um, there are certain groups of women who are more prone to osteopenia or osteoporosis, right? That's kind of the brittle bones. And, we know more women who have fallen and broken a hip than men, right? So bone density, balancing blood sugar. This is a big one. As we get older, and with that, we tend to start struggling with our weight. We start struggling with insulin resistance or insulin instability, right? Blood sugars up and down. Protein is going to help balance that blood sugar. So you're not going to have these high spikes and high drops. But for me, what's also really important is staying full. When you eat lunch or breakfast or whatever meal, you don't want to be hungry 2 hours later going, I'm starving. What am I going to eat? This is what happens to so many women that I know. They go out for lunch and they have a salad. Okay. And it's got lots of stuff in it, lots of veggies, which is awesome. I love my veggies. I love me some veggies, but that's it. They don't have any protein, whether it's plant-based or animal-based. Um, they may add some cheese, so that may add some, mostly calories. And then 2 hours later, they're hungry. Well, yeah, they have filled their belly with fiber, which is great. It's going to help you poop. But there's nothing to keep them satiated. There's nothing in that salad to keep them from being hungry again. I mean, even adding walnuts and seeds, those are proteins and healthy fats that will help um, with that satiated feeling. Satiated feeling, yes. So basically, to me, if you're eating more protein, quality protein, you're basically saying goodbye to cravings. You're not going to have that 3 o'clock dip that most people complain about. So while American College of Lifestyle Medicine advocates for the plant-based plate, and there's a ton of research out there, they've done lots and lots of studies, meta-analyses on people who are obese or diabetic and have taken a plant-based, diet for 8 to 12 weeks, and they've, lost weight. They've their insulin resistance is better, and their A1C is down, and that's all great, right? But I'm talking about women like you and me, right? We are not at a state where we have diabetes or metabolic syndrome. We're not obese. We're not struggling with cardiovascular disease. At least we don't know that we are at this stage, right? Unless we've been tested. But there's some wonderful research out there also that shows that in midlife, for women to thrive with a plant forward diet, they need to add balance. So yes, plant forward, right? Plant forward as opposed to plant based, which is kind of the same. When people kind of confuse them, I say plant forward because I like that phrase as opposed to plant based. I don't know. They could actually mean the same exact thing. What's different is when somebody says vegan and vegetarian, right? Vegan is much more intense. However, the plant-based people at ACLM are pretty intense when it comes to what they eat and what they do not eat. So, but anyway, so plant forward, having some balance. So lots of colorful fruits and veggies. Absolutely. That salad I mentioned before. Yeah, put that salad together. Put all those veggies in there. Add some whole grains and beans. Yes, please. Fiber, 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 more fiber. And also different types of nutrients, right? Each vegetable, each fruit, each grain or bean or seed or nut has different nutrients that your body needs, whether it's all the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals and all of those things. Really, really important to have. We talk about a balanced diet. The problem with people saying they have a balanced diet is they actually don't know what balance is. And that's where plant forward comes in handy, because it really does help us look at our plate and say, okay, 3/4 of this plate should be plant-based. And then you have that quarter that is a protein. Lean meat, chicken, turkey, salmon. I love salmon. Salmon is great because you get an extra kick of omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for brain health, for bone, for energy, all of these things. Omega-3s are great for your knees and your joints. Great stuff. Your body absolutely demands at this stage these building blocks, right? When you were a little kid, your parents gave you healthy food to help you grow and grow into a healthy child, a healthy teenager, and a healthy young adult, right? Now it's your responsibility to continue to build strong muscle and bone and healthy immune system. That's the other piece. By eating these healthy foods, all of these phytonutrients and antioxidants, you're filling your body, flooding your body in a way, in a good way, with all of these great things that are, all of these great nutrients that are working in different areas of your body. Right? When you eat something, it doesn't just go to your finger, it goes to all of the cells, it goes to your brain, all of the part of your body. I mean, your one whole body. Again, to me, it's about adding here quality protein as opposed to taking away foods, right? Because that's what a diet is, right? A diet, D-I with a little d, D-I-E-T, is restrictive. This is not restrictive, right? There are, I don't know, hundreds of fruits and veggies that you can choose from, different ways to cook them. There are different whole grains and beans and seeds and legumes, all of these things, right? So, I mean, if you get to choose, there's just say 10 different beans on, at the store, that's 10. You get, wow, can you imagine when you start to, pick a bean and pick a different grain and all the amazing combinations that you can make. And again, it really is about upgrading or up leveling the foods that you may already be eating. So lifestyle medicine, in my opinion, my humble opinion, provides a map, right? We all need a map. If we're here and we want to get someplace else, we need a map to show us how to get there, right? But midlife women need to choose the right vehicle built for strength, for resilience, and for joy. So as a woman in midlife, this is not about fading away into the sunset, right? This is our time. This is our time to thrive. This is our time because we've taken care of everybody else in the past, right? Right? Kids, job, career, husband, spouse, wife, whatever, whomever, right? This is a time where you are meant to burn brighter, walk taller, live even more fully than you even thought possible, body, mind, and spirit, and truly to feel alive, right? Born, 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 born to be alive. This is your time, ladies. So that's all I have for you today. In my next episode, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the power of real food. I talk about real food all the time, not rules, and how you can fuel your radiance from the inside out. Until then, I leave you with this. Your healthiest years are not behind you. They're just beginning. Healthy living, happy life. I'll see you soon.